Hi all, Ashley here. Hope you're doing well. Today I'm going to do a real-time process tutorial video for how I make these little mini book keychains. I've shared a couple different versions so far on my Instagram. I shared this winter version, Christmas version, and then I just shared this New Year's version today, and it's just so cute and little and perfect for hanging off of actually full mini albums if you want, or wherever, if you can make it a keychain. So yeah, I'm gonna make a Valentine's themed one today. So let's get started. Okay, so I wrote out some measurements for myself. This, if you want to screenshot it, these are the measurements I will use right now as we cut through everything. For our cover, what I'm going to use, you can use cardstock if you want. You can use a cover page of a 12 by 12 paper. You can use the old Kleenex box. It doesn't matter. But something that's kind of like a little bit of weight to it is good. So I'm going to use a cover of a 6 by 6 paper pad. And let's start with our measurements. So we're going to need 1/2 inches, the strip that's 1/2 inches. And then cut that strip down to 1 1/4 inch. Oop, it's a little bit, there we go. 1 1/4, 1 inch. And then 1 1/4 again. Okay. So these are going to be the cover pieces we use for our book. Like that. It's kind of cute actually with just the images, but we're going to end up covering that. Oh well. And then we will do our inserts. So these are for our pages going inside the book. I'm just going to use plain cardstock and then decorate it later. So yeah, we could just use plain cardstock. We need 1 1/2. Oh, this one is actually, this probably is a scrap from the last album I made. Yep. So since our height here is 1 1/2, I do 1 tick under 1 1/2. So just like right there, just slightly smaller than 1 1/2. And then we'll need something that is 3 1/4 wide. 3 1/4. Okay, perfect. So here's one, and then we'll do another one. How big is this? Okay, let's use the straight side. We need to do 2.75 here. Trim that down by 1 tick under 1 1/2 again. Okay. So here are going to be our 2 pages that go inside the book. Let's score those. So the 3 1/4 inch one, the longer one, needs to be scored at, where's my score tool here? Scored at 1 1/4 and 2 inches. Let's just fold that down now. Fold and varnish. Okay, so it's going to go into our book. And then the other one, the shorter one, this one gets scored at 1.25 again, and 1.5. Varnish that. Okay. So look, here's our little pages for our book. You don't even have to decorate these. You can kind of leave them plain, but I'm gonna be adding some, I'm gonna be decorating them. But here's our little book. I think it looks so cute already, but let's start assembling this. So for the outside, we are going to add tape to all these pages. So I'm going to pull out my double-sided roll, and I'm going to add tape to each of these pieces. Scissors. Okay, everything's got a lot of tape on it. Now let's grab our cover page. I'm gonna use this as my cover pattern. I'm not gonna worry about cutting anything or trimming it down. We'll just eyeball that once we place these things on. So we'll take our first cover, and then I just eyeball it. You want to give it a little bit of space from the corner, but I'll show you the measurement in a second for people who want to measure. So that's like 1/4 inch from the end of the edges of the page. Let's do the spine next. Okay, give it a little gap. You can use your score tool if you want to give you a guide of how much of a gap you should put. But I just kind of eyeball this one too. And lay that down. So that ends up being about 1/8 of an inch. And then lay down our last piece. Okay. And then cut off all the excess. So we don't need all that, and we don't need this. Okay. So here's what we've got so far. And then now we're gonna nip off the little edges. I don't go all the way up to the cover. I just go close. So it looks like that. And then now we will score. I had a good amount of pressure here across all of the edges. And then a little bit on the inside of the spine, right up against the spine and then against the cover pages. So this whole area basically. Okay, now let's fold over. I'm gonna start with the bottom. I'm gonna push it up against the desk. I'm gonna do this a little closer to me, so it's gonna be a little bit off camera, but just gonna push it up against the desk. Slowly. Other side. And then push down. Okay. So let's glue that down. I'm gonna add in some tape and I'm gonna add in some wet glue too, because the only kind of tape that fits on this is this teeny little tape, and I just wanna add in a little bit of wet glue too to make sure it's gonna stick. I'm not too worried because I am gonna also stitch this, but if you're not gonna stitch yours, then yeah, definitely add in both the tape and the wet glue. Okay, so we've got, I'm adding a little dab of wet glue too to the corner here. Just the areas the tape's not really reaching. Okay. Then let's do the other corners. I'm gonna push down and score. Push down on any of the overlap that came from the bottom tabs and score up against the cover. And then fold those up and over, add in my tape and glue. Just gonna make sure that doesn't stick out. Same thing, push against your table and fold over, and same thing on this other side. Good, so here's our little cover. Now, let's push down on these open gaps between your spine and your cover pages. So you should see like a little indent kind of starting to form. This will just help for later when we need to fold this up. You can start to fold and get your little book. So cute. Okay, let's add in our inside cover so we can cover all this up. And I'm just gonna kind of eyeball what I need here, so it'll just be slightly smaller than the outer cover. So I'm just gonna mark, I need right here, and then I need to trim right here. Yep, so let's get out the trimmer and do that. And I'm going to glue down using double-sided tape again. Covering all these sections. It's kind of awkward angle for me to hold it. So here you can decide if you want to do yours with the ribbon closure, you would add in your ribbon now. I am going to do another belly band closure this time, just like last time. So I'm going to make another one of these to go around the book. So I don't need any ribbon. Don't remember if I did this last time, but I guess this time I will do this in sections. So I just removed the tape from the front cover and I stuck down this inner lining, and then I'll do my creasing now. Before I keep going on and removing more of the tape, last section. Okay. So here is your book cover. We just need to insert our little pages, and that will basically be the book assembly done. Before I do that, I'm going to stitch around and just add a little line all around the book, just for a little bit of extra interest. So let me go ahead and do that, and I'll be right back. Okay, so the cover is all stitched, and now I'm going to go ahead and add in our punch for our jump ring. So I'm using my Crop-It-Out. It's at 1/4 inch depth, and I'm just going to punch a hole, hopefully about in the center of this. So yeah, it looks good. And then I'm gonna add in my little eyelet. And we'll close this up. Okay, perfect. So then now I'm gonna measure, I'm gonna do a couple things. I'm gonna go ahead and adhere these two pages together. So we'll add glue to the insert that has just the 1/4 inch thickness here. So add glue there, and then add this page right in the center of the other insert. Okay, I think that looks pretty centered. I'm gonna just measure now where I need to punch the hole. So before I glue it down, I'm just gonna line it up and then use my pencil, trace a hole. And that will be what I punch out. So again, Crop-It-Out tool, 1/4 inch depth, but also just triple checking that it's centered with the circle you just drew. You know, oh Bear, stop messing around with stuff over there, please. Okay, I just realized I guess I could skip that step, huh, of tracing that circle. I just used a 1/4 inch depth and that worked fine. But anyways, get to double check. Okay, so then now let's adhere the pages down. So I'm just gonna add a bunch of liquid glue right all over this section, making sure I get the top part too, above the circle I just punched out. You should add your eyelet though before you glue this part down, because otherwise your eyelet might snag. This part might be a little bit too wide for these pages. This little insert right here, that's a little bit too small. So once your eyelet's on there, glue these pages down. And I'm gonna need to let this sit for a minute. So I will give that a minute here. Okay, I gave that a minute to set, and then now is time, the fun time, for embellishing, the fun part. So I actually did already stitch a few of these little rectangles, and I embellished them with some stickers from Maggie Holmes sticker book. This is some chipboard from Rosie Studio. I always forget the name of that brand. I haven't used their stuff that much. I just started using it, and I've been loving their little teeny chipboard pieces. It's so fun. So let's add in all the pages. I think it is easier to embellish the pages separately off of the little book. The other thing you can do if you print collage photos, you can just cut up your 1.5 or your 1 inch by 1 inch photos and add them in here too, which is super cute. But I don't print too many photos at once like that, even though I've been looking at different like apps and stuff to do that, because I have a ton of travel photos that I'm going to try to start documenting more this year. And so yeah, I think I might be doing more photo printing this year than I have previously. But anyways, if you do that, you can use those here. Otherwise, you can just decorate it and make it fun and pretty, like what I'm doing. This page, I just folded it in half like that, so it'll fold out. Have a fun little interactive element. This one's just got some puffy stickers and some clear stickers. Good time to use up your clear stickers as like little background elements. Okay, so I finished adding in all my little pages, and then now we're gonna make our closure. So I'm gonna take a little piece of scrap. It can be, like, you don't need to measure it out exactly, but mine happens to be 3/4 of an inch by 6 inches. And I'm gonna start with it centered here on the front, and then just wrap it around. And then in the back, I'm gonna add some liquid glue to keep it shut. And this is a little bit too long, so I'm gonna also trim it down by a little bit in the back, because I don't need it to be so long. So that looks, so like that looks pretty good. I just trimmed off that little bit of excess there. I'm gonna add some liquid glue here, and then that will be our closure. So I added my liquid glue. I'm just letting this set for a minute, and then I'm just gonna kind of push on it a little, get it to be a good rectangular shape. Okay, I think that should be pretty good and dry. Let's make sure it fits. Nice. And then I'm just gonna add a little embellishment to the front. I love this little bear and a teacup thing. I'm obsessed with all bear stuff right now because of my dog, whose name is Bear. And also just because I've always been obsessed with little animal ephemera. So nothing new there. Gonna just pop this guy up. Oh, so stinking cute. Our last step is to add in our jump ring for... Okay, so we have a couple options. We can either do a keychain. I've got these star keychains, which is what I used here. Or you can just do some charms and just leave the jump ring for attachment to something later, which I'm gonna do just charms today. So let's get jump ring out. And I think I'm only gonna just do one charm for right now. So let's open this guy up and add it on the book. I might need my tool. Open this a little bit more. Let me go ahead and add the charm. And then add it to the book. And then I'll close this up. Perfect. A little cute little bow there. So adorable. So this is our finished little mini book. I hope you liked seeing this tutorial and were able to follow along. And if you make anything, please do tag me. I love seeing other people's projects. And I will see you guys on the next one. Bye.